This meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals is hereby called to order. This board was established pursuant to Section 519.13 of the Ohio Revised Code of the Anderson Township Trustees to provide relief to any person or entity adversely affected by hardships caused by strict interpretation of the Anderson Township zoning resolution. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Simon?
Here.
Mr. Hoffman?
Here.
Mr. Nesselovich?
Here.
Thank you for coming to this meeting of the Anderson Township Board of Zoning Appeals. Please be aware that this meeting is audio and videotaped and may be carried on live television. First, I'll outline our procedures. A summary of the appeal is normally presented by the staff. Then the appellant would normally present its case. The board members may then ask questions of the appellant. After that, all persons supporting the appeal will be permitted to testify one at a time after being recognized by the chairman. When those persons supporting the appeal are finished, those persons opposed to the appeal will be then permitted to testify and/or ask questions of the board after being recognized by the chair. All persons wishing to testify, whether for or against an appeal, may only do so after being sworn in. When testifying, each person must come forward to the podium, right here in the middle. After being recognized, speak into the microphone and state their name, address, and any affiliation to the case. All persons testifying will be limited to 4 minutes unless a board member requests additional time. All testimony is given to the board only. No comments or questions are to be directed to the appellant or anyone else in the audience. The board will only hear new, non-repetitive evidence or questions. Should someone wish to show support of previous testimony, they may do so by following the testimony procedures and stating their support of previous testimony. Now, will all persons who may give testimony this evening please stand, raise your right hand. Only one?
Do you know if we're going to give testimony?
If you're in doubt, stand up and let's go ahead and get you sworn in. Stand, raise your right hand, and swear or affirm. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? No changes? Do we need to approve that with a motion? No. Now, approval of the minutes, we do need to approve by a motion. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes that were sent out to us in email?
Yes.
Any changes to those minutes?
No.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes as amended?
I'll move that we approve the minutes as amended.
Second.
Thank you. No further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. The secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Cyan?
Aye.
Mr. Hoffman?
Aye.
Mr. Nesselovich?
Aye.
Mr. Hayes?
Aye. The minutes approved. We will proceed with the continuation of the case 15-2017 BZA. That is the case on Edgemere Court. This is a continuation of a case that this board, all 4 members of this board heard on the 1st of June, and the staff has nothing new, so we will dispense with the staff report. Does the appellant wish to present any new information on their case? Is the appellant here for the case? Okay. Does anyone wish to speak in favor of granting this variance? Seeing none, does anyone wish to speak opposed to this variance? Seeing none, does the board have any further questions on this case?
No.
No? You ready to close the public hearing on this case? Okay. A procedure step here is that that looks rather foolish that the staff didn't say anything, the appellant didn't say anything, there was no one speaking in favor or in opposition. We had to do that because the notification to surrounding properties was not granted the full 10 days, and so we had to continue the case until tonight. But that case is now closed for public hearing. Procedures-wise, we will continue on with the other cases, the public hearings, and after the last case is closed on a public hearing, then the board will debate by itself with no further testimony each case. So proceeding on to the continuation of case 16-2017, this is the case on Round Bottom Road. Is the appellant is not here on this case. I don't see it. There's nothing new from the staff report.
The front yard setback variance request for a setback of 18 feet versus the required 30 was also added in the notice to neighbors. This came about at the last meeting.
This is caused by, can you show the, oh, maybe you don't have the diagram.
We have a site plan. That was the site plan. So at the last meeting, when the architect had his rendering on the computer, this little square right here we found out was actually part of the addition, whereas on the site plan it appeared to be just the walk-up or entryway, but it actually has a roof on it. So I'm sorry, I should show it over here as well. So this area is a front yard setback of 18 feet to the property line, or well, the right-of-way line versus what is required is 30 feet. If you'll recall, the building addition, this portion met the 30-foot setback, but this does not.
The non-conforming part of the building does not, and now it's even less of a setback with that addition.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Any further questions of staff? And does anyone wish to speak in favor of the granting the variance? The two variances? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? Any further questions from the board? Ready to close the public hearing on this case?
Yes.
Okay. The public hearing on case 16-2017 is hereby closed. Proceeding on to the continuation of case 17-2017. Again, it's a continuation from from June 1st. Does staff have anything new to present? No. Does the appellant want to present any new information from what they presented last on June 1st? Nothing. Anyone wish to speak in favor of granting this variance? Seeing none, does anyone wish to speak in opposition to granting this variance? Seeing none, the board have any further questions on this? We're ready to close the public hearing on this case. The public hearing on case 17-2017 is hereby closed. The board will now, without hearing any further public testimony, debate one case at a time and come to a straw vote of where it feels it wants to go. Who wants to start us on case 15-2017? That's the property on Edgemere Court.
I think that there's not really a big problem with this deal.
You're in favor of granting the variance?
Yes.
Any particular testimony that was key?
I just think that it continues to be a private location and that that's not encroaching on neighbors. And none of the neighbors seem to have a problem with it since no neighbors have shown up to speak to that issue. So I would think, based on the video or the visuals that we've had, and that it's not going to be a problem for anybody if it's approved.
To add to that, too, I think the structure design was supposed to be similar to the house, so it wouldn't necessarily contrast in any way in that sense, the visual appeal.
Yeah, and I agree. I think based on the height of the structure, I don't have any issue with it.
What did you understand the height of the structure to be?
I think there was testimony that it was about 14 feet.
That's what the testimony was, yes. And that's significantly higher than the surrounding fence, the privacy fence. And it's significantly higher than the existing outbuilding, accessory building over on the other side of the corner.
This drawing, does it show, it shows that there's existing evergreen trees inside the fence, and I would expect that those will probably, if they haven't already grown to the height, they probably conceal it pretty well.
On to Hunley, I agree. In separation from the house next door on Hunley, I didn't understand any evergreens were going to be there. They're not there now.
Let's see. Yeah, no, they're, well,
They
by
should-
this drawing, it shows that they're,
They're supposed to add them. Do we want to put any restrictions on the heights of the evergreens then, or on the height on the building?
Proposing minimum heights on the evergreens, or?
Minimum heights on the other evergreens or maximum heights on the building?
no,
I understand.
no taller than what's already been proposed.
14?
Yeah,
And 14 is okay?
with
Meets the
me.
minimum, yeah.
Okay. If it was just me, I would have looked for restrictions to be similar to the existing outbuilding and keep it lower so that it is not so obtrusive. This could be obtrusive at 14 feet. But we'll go with a maximum restriction of 14 feet then. Any further discussion, or are you ready to make a motion?
I'll move that we go ahead and approve this variance request. Let's see, am I supposed to read something off of here?
You can say in complete agreement with the staff findings.
I'm in complete agreement with the staff findings regarding this request. Over.
And any restrictions?
Was it
Add the 14 feet.
14 foot, no higher than 14 feet?
And construction to begin,
Within a year and complete it within 2?
and in substantial compliance with the
Plan submitted on
May 11th?
May 11th.
In substantial compliance with the plan submitted on May 11th, 2017.
Second the motion.
Second. Any further discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Sion.
Aye.
Mr. Halpin.
Aye.
Mr. Neslovich.
Aye.
And Mr. Hayes.
Aye. Who wants to start us off on case 16-2017?
Changes they're proposing here, the addition of parking and building addition as well, I don't see as a great change for the area that this is. But one concept I think everybody was kind of, at least I was, in terms of the 10-foot streetscape buffer, that there was no real plan other than striping it to address safety concerns, and there's still concerns, and seen it myself too, even with the with striping, people will still park on it. You know, I'm going to be in there for 5 seconds to pick something up, I'm going to park over there. I think there are cost-effective solutions that were discussed at the time, where concrete piers, barriers of some sort, that even planters, just heavy planters, will keep people out. I'm okay with the building addition, the parking lot change, but I would propose we add a restriction that some sort of more physical presence be put in place in the front of the building there, just to kind of keep people from parking in that area.
Could we narrow it down to like planters or something like that, or do we want to leave that up to the,
I was looking forward to discussing that with the applicant tonight, but unfortunately, we're unable to do that. We've got to decide this in the absence of their further testimony. And with that, I think it's probably best for us not to get too specific, but to state some requirements that, this may be overstating what you said, is to prevent any vehicle access to the front of that building. Not just parking or limited, it's just to prevent vehicle traffic into the front of the building.
You can see people using it as a, when you do a U-turn right there, the stoplight or the stop sign, or they do a quick, that poses some safety concerns, which is paramount of what we kind of look at too.
Yes, yes. Now, the concern that I would have is that how we word that so that staff can manage the construction to where it's reasonably approved. You have any words that we could use?
The other issue, which I think you all talked about, so anything that is placed in that area, if it's not grass, will have to be outside the right of way. And the right of way is 18 feet from that new addition, so keep that in mind. This is actually the edge of pavement of the roadway.
Mm-hmm.
The right-of-way line is actually clear back here.
The dash line.
Dash line. So if they are planters or something of that nature, it would have to go outside the right-of-way, and it may not actually even eliminate what you're trying to achieve, because there's probably still room between the edge of pavement and the right-of-way line to pull off the road. So just keep that in mind. It's a little deceiving when you look at it on paper, but when you look at the existing condition here, this white line is the edge of pavement of the travel lane, but the right of way is clear back here. So something, if you do put some type of, there's 18 feet between the building and that new addition. The new addition and the right of way line is 18 feet in there. So that would be the area that some type of paver or planter could go.
and so what you're saying is towards the highway, they'd still be able to double park. Yeah, I mean, likely. So there's really nothing that the applicant can do to prevent people from parking out there, quite frankly.
Their proposal was to strike it.
The striping won't restrict parking, but unless they put some kind of a wall or something up, which I don't know if that was considered cost-effective or
I mean, the wall would have to go on the right-of-way line.
anyway. So there'd still be,
engineer would even permit it there
so there'd still be parking abilities
to move along the edge.
edge of the highway. So there's really nothing they can do to stop it from happening. Is there? I don't think there is.
Was there a discussion of like a raised sidewalk, if I remember correctly?
There was.
That they could have installed they can install a raised sidewalk at the, where it's noted there on the drawings that would, I think would prevent further, although driving on Clough Pike the other day, I saw somebody parking on top of that, going into somebody's house over there in Claremont County side. So, well, theoretically should stop people from parking there, it does not.
So we're looking to improve the safety situations there. Parking is up to the person that chooses to park there. It could be kind of hazardous, but at least if we specify some restrictions of pulling vehicles in any closer than the right-of-way line, then at least we limit vehicular entrances in any closer to the building. People that choose to park out further, they do so at their own risk, I suppose. And it would be a safety concern for them, the way that the traffic moves along the roadway there.
It's no different than someone pulling off on a shoulder and just parking on a shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest concern we had was people pulling in at a 90-degree angle and then trying to pull back out onto Round Bottom. So at least some kind of buffer would break that up. The only other option is we just make them put in a more of a physical sidewalk that is a more of a visual and physical barrier too. Striping would help a little bit, So it's a tough one. But I know they did say that a curb was about $10,000 roughly, and the buffer that was required was about 30, which did seem like a big chunk of their budget.
Well, our zoning restrictions require that. What this board is really debating is how much less do we require of them in order to get by here with reasonable safety, I think is the question before us. And while we're debating that, does anyone see any problems with the 18-foot setback with the new roof on that entranceway?
I don't really, because that's just a slight extension to the existing building. So I don't see it as a problem for that particular reason. And they're living within code with the new addition. So it seems to me that I wouldn't let that impact. The only thing, even if they tried this square off instead of having a 90-degree angle at the end, change it a little bit, that would probably save a foot at most. So I don't know that it makes that much difference. So I'd be okay with that variance, quite frankly. And as far as the safety of the pedestrians and the striping of the sidewalk, I'm not quite sure there's a lot that can be done. Sounds like it's at, will of the road, people on the road is hoping that the citizens respect pedestrians and allow pedestrians the opportunity to have a way to get through. Beyond that, I don't know that they could prevent it, even if they put like those, what are those, bumper curbs? They jump those. Of course, I wouldn't, but scrape the bottom of my car. But long and short is that a truck could easily jump it and without hesitation.
Well, those in combination with flower pots or other obstructions there that would prevent cars from going in there
Yeah.
would probably keep them out on the right-of-way, within the right-of-way.
I'm okay with the addition also. I think it's the logical entrance point for the building, so I can see why they put it there, and making it a focal tower does make sense. The more reason to also protect that area from cars. And I would be okay with calling out a number of bollards also, if we call out an X number of bollards to be installed with chain or something like that. Those are a little bit more physical and
More cost effective.
yeah.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, actually I am too, but I'm not sure what the desire is of the owner. And I'm looking for a more general way to phrase it rather than being specific on the design.
My
I think-
impression is that the owner was willing to try and do something as long as it was cost effective. So I think if we restrict it to the point of asking that those items be, a bollard be put in with chain as a condition of approval, would that be a fair thing? It would seem cost effective to me, and it might help.
Oh, I think it would help. Yeah, normally the owner is participating in these discussions and
Yeah.
can say, yeah, that sounds good to us. The problem on the June the 1st, the owner doesn't seem willing to think about anything except the striping. One of you brought up the bollards and chains, another brought up the large flower pots, another brought up the parking bumpers, and all of the ideas went nowhere with the owner, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was hoping they would have a revised plan of some kind.
I was too. But lacking that, how strong do we feel about putting some kind of a barrier there at about the right-of-way line that would prevent vehicular traffic of any kind any closer to the building?
I'd be okay with that.
Agree.
In addition to all the proposed striping.
In addition, okay? Now, if we used general words like that, though, would the staff be able to review the actual construction and say that it meets it or does not meet it?
What was your sample language? We were discussing sample language over here too.
We can call out the number of bollards, a minimum number, or we can call out the spacing.
We were thinking of a decorative vehicular barrier or something of that nature.
Oh, so even leave it more vague. That's fine with me.
To be placed along the line of the right-of-way so that it prevents any vehicular traffic between the right-of-way line and the building?
Can we
Good.
use the word permanent? Just,
Permanent?
yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay.
We can even put in parentheses, for example, planters, bollards, something of that.
Large planters.
Or-
I don't want any begonia pots.
Concrete,
Concrete planters.
decorative concrete.
Okay. Any other concerns with the granting of two variances, really? One is the setback, and the other is the restrictions on the vehicular traffic in front of the building. Those are the two things that are out of compliance, is that correct? Yep.
Front yard setback and then the 10-foot streetscape buffer.
And essentially, then, what we are saying is in place of the zoning resolution requiring the 10-foot streetscape buffer, and what else there, Paul?
It was a continuous curb cut.
Continuous curb cut. Yeah, okay. But the one would replace the other. The 10-foot streetscape buffer would,
Essentially, you'd be granting the variances from those two items, which are placed in a condition that there should be permanent decorative vehicular barrier along the right-of-way around the road.
okay?
Yep.
Where are we?
Do we have a motion? Can we close it up?
You want me to do that motion?
I'm looking for somebody to do the motion,
Okay.
because I'm not allowed to.
Oh, darn.
I can do it if you, okay, go ahead. Mr. Chair, based on case number 16-2017 BZA, we move to approve the variance in Article 5.3A3 based on, I'm sorry, a variance request for Article 5.3D1D and Article 5.3D2 to allow the setback and the curb cuts based on restrictions that a permanent barrier be placed along the 10-foot streetscape buffer in the right-of-way, or on the edge of the right-of-way, and help me out, were we going to add another restriction, or was that it?
That was it.
Well, you wanted to continue the striping.
And the striping, as per the plans dated 4/12/17, this is based on the fact that they are improving the site plan dramatically by adding a lot of parking and making the situation better for the site overall. And that the plans submitted with, or construction to begin within a year and completed within 2 years.
Thanks.
Second the motion.
Now, for a friendly amendment, the plans that I have are dated May 19th and May 11th.
Oh, I looked at the drawing date. Yeah, the plans received May 19th.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor on case 16-2017 BZA. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Hayes?
Aye.
Mr. Simon?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Westlovich?
Aye.
That is approved. And we will now move to case 17-2017. This is the property on 7621 Forest Road with the non-conforming setback at the rear property line. Anyone want to start us off?
I saw no objections to these plans and designs. It doesn't look like it's going to affect the front visual aspects of the home. It extends towards the back, adds a couple of more rooms, bathrooms, which I think will improve the value of the property over there, as well as surrounding neighbors as well.
I agree. Just simply based on the unique nature of this site, I don't see any issue.
It backs up to a commercial property. And I don't remember hearing any objections to any of the work that was requested, or the variance requested, so.
And yes, I agree. The footprint of the house is being retained, so the setback is not proposed to be any worse than what it is right now. I would like to see a restriction, a condition on it is to retain the existing vegetation. Retain and maintain the existing vegetation. And I know that that is a requirement of the town properties on the other side of the property line, but it'd be good to have this property do the same as a good neighbor, especially since it's already there. And we heard testimony from the owner that said he was fine with that condition.
Okay,
Any other thoughts?
it's your turn.
I guess I'll start off the motion. I make a motion in regards to case number 17, 2017 BZA, property located at 7621 Forest Road. Variance request for Article 3.5C2C to allow second-story addition on a non-conforming house. I move that we approve this variance request in accordance with staff findings. I agree with staff findings. Construction to begin within 1 year and to be completed within 2 years in accordance with the plans received May 11th, 2017.
Don't forget the vegetation.
An additional condition that the existing vegetation be maintained, retained to the best ability possible.
Second.
Who was the second?
Me.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Nicely done, Mr. Simon.
He learned from the two of us.
Practice makes perfect. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Hayes?
Aye.
Mr. Stein?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Neslinger?
Aye.
The procedures now are to go over the formal documents word by word, and depending on where the staff is, we may adjourn for a short time. Maybe we won't adjourn, maybe if it's a short time, we just keep on going. Essentially, what we are doing here is documenting in detail, formal detail, the discussion that we just had in each case, and then actually making the motion to approve and journalize each case. Sorry, I know it's early, but what do we know about upcoming cases for July? Okay. 'Cause I'm more than likely going to be out of town.
My wife's out watering the plants. The
deadline is this Friday?
It's right up there.
Okay.
Oh, man.
If you to let me know.
I have 3
Well,
dogs.
you're
I don't
already
want
sure
them
that it's
outside.
going to be one. Probably. Okay. May not make it by Friday? Okay. Ready to move further down?
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's getting me.
Can scroll it.
Ready to go down further? Yep. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
I think the rest is boilerplate there. I think Sarah is printing this, assuming that somebody is going to make a motion to approve this resolution.
I move that we approve this resolution as written or documented and journalized.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. The secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Hayes?
Aye.
Mr. Stein?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Nestovich?
Aye.
Moving on to case 16.
You can scroll it.
The 314C2A is the setback requirement, right? Yeah, that's an addition here, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm ready to move down. Yeah, it is, yep.
That first one says being striped as no parking. I don't think they're actually striping it as no parking.
They were striping it like a sidewalk, weren't they?
I thought it was both.
They were striping as no parking and then striping as
Okay, so they're doing both.
Am I missing where that is on the plan, the no parking?
It was hashed, I think. Well, I don't see it now. The supporting memo from Jeff Newby was that it would be marked out with pavement markings. Still not clear.
Look at the letter from the architect.
Okay.
We are proposing paved striping where the curb would be, as well as striping and no parking signage, and surface marking to discourage vehicular usage.
Okay, good.
So the no parking striping is in there, but should the sidewalk also be added in there? Or is that in the restrictions, or in the conditions?
I think that's in the plan, so we're okay.
It is in the plan, the 5-foot paint striped sidewalk.
So
On
we
existing.
ought to add it in there in number 1, I think. Yeah, right after no parking, I would propose that we add and a sidewalk. Even before the comma. Actually, that comma should probably be a semicolon now that I look at it, but I think that's the right words, right? Okay. Everybody comfortable with number 4 there? I think that says roughly the right thing, but, okay. Ready to scroll down? Yeah, that looks fine. Ready to scroll down? Yeah. Should we describe in number 3 there the purpose of that permanent decorative vehicular barrier by putting at the end there that would prevent any vehicular movement between the right-of-way and the building?
Can't hurt.
Right before that period there. Yep. Between the right-of-way and the front of the building. We okay with that? Yeah, right away is hyphenated. And the rest is boilerplate. You okay?
Yep. So I move that we approve this as written
And journalize.
and journalize it.
Second.
Any further discussion? We're getting better. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Hayes?
Aye.
Mr. Sine?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Yeslovich?
Aye.
And case 17. All the rest of them have been granted, I think.
Yeah.
Ready to scroll? Let's do it. That peak in the second line there is P-E-A-K, I think.
Yeah.
Ready to scroll?
Yep. I approve that a motion that we approve this based on what's written, and that it be journalized.
Second motion.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Hayes?
Aye?
Mr. Simon?
Aye.
Mr. Halpin?
Aye.
Mr. Nestovich?
Aye.
It's approved. We'll now go through the formal signing of these documents, but you've seen the actions and you've seen the wording. Sometimes I say that you can get the formal documentation in the morning. Sometimes Paul says, no, wait a minute, wait a couple of days. You going to do it? Day or two? So you can stop back Wednesday and pick up the formal documentation. Thank you. It's the first time anybody's ever said that. Normally, we get criticized pretty heavily.
I think you do a good job. I mean, look at Anderson Township. It's getting better every day.
I like that.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you, too.
Are we adjourned?
Yeah, any further business?
Nope.
We are adjourned.
All right.